Hey guys, All in Crypto here and welcome back ladies and gentlemen for another YouTube video. I hope you've all had an amazing week so far. Today guys, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to spend quite a lot of this video looking at on-chain data for Bitcoin and Cardano, because what these are showing us is contrary to the bearish price action that we've seen, the sell-off that we saw within the crypto space, the on-chain data and the fundamentals for not only Bitcoin but Cardano have never been so strong. I mean, let's not even talk about the fact that we had the most significant upgrade in Cardano's history take place 2 days ago. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at Bitcoin to start off with, guys. We are going to look at Cardano. And the reason that I'm doing this is because right now in the crypto space, a lot of the commentators on the space really haven't outlined any kind of a clear direction. They're very flip-flopping around. You know, are we in a bull market? Are we in a bear market? My opinion and bias on this channel is that we are still in a bull market, ladies and gentlemen. And in yesterday's video, we really highlighted the fact that if we go back to our kind of, and this is why we keep bringing this chart up, to give you more of a long-term overview, which is important to focus on, because if you get kind of caught up in this short-term price action, that's why there's a lot of people out there that are changing their minds. You know, 1 minute they're bullish, the next minute they're bearish. Ultimately, we're bullish, guys, and we did show you that after every single big move you have for Cardano, you get a sell-off to the downside. This is just how markets work. A very common question that I constantly get asked is, why is the price going down? This is how markets work. We did more of an in-depth video in regards to actually the inner workings of markets and how price is actually determined, and it's essentially determined by a very small amount of the liquid supply on exchanges getting sold and bought. So it's a bit of an unfair representation of the asset as a whole, but hey ho, that's the world we live in, and that's the metric that we weigh things up by. So that's what we've got to work with. And why we're really going to look at the on-chain data is because you can look at the charts all you want, guys, but if the fundamentals aren't there, it just doesn't work. It's, you know, there has to be fundamentals, there has to be a use case, a plethora of things, a plethora of boxes that need to be ticked before the charts can kind of be looked at. And then once you have understood what you're investing in, which I think is something that each and every one of you should do, you know, do a bit of research into blockchain, how it's come about, and where it's kind of going to be implemented and how it's going to change the world, then you can look at the charts and you can kind of worry about it on a day-to-day basis. But understanding the fundamentals and the longer term view, guys, is really key to being an investor. If you don't understand the fundamentals, all you really are is a gambler, and you're just putting money on something, you know, with a chance of it paying off. Whereas investing is more calculated and precise, and you have far better odds. So let's talk about Bitcoin. Well, the first thing that I want to do is head over to this chart from Willy Woo. Contrary to common opinion, that latest price pullback was not from whale selling. They've been in a significant region of buying. So whilst the price has gone down, and we covered this a few videos ago where we spoke about a big whale, the third largest Bitcoin wallet, essentially bought, I think, 4,000 Bitcoin or something during this dip, which really goes to show you that the whales, that the accounts that hold the most, are continuing to accumulate. And you can see here very clearly, you've got this kind of, this is the chart that we're really looking at. Of course, this is the Bitcoin price chart at the top. You've got this kind of middle line, and when you go below it, you've got whales that are selling, and when you're above it, you've got whales that are accumulating. And you can see that in both these regions, when we had a kind of pullback, you actually had whales buying. So contrary to what most people think about how this was whales dumping on the market, it actually wasn't. What this sell-off was over leveraged longs getting liquidated. And this price movement here, it's like dipping your toe in a very hot bath. The next time you put your toe in, you're going to be a little bit more cautious before you run in and immerse yourself. And this is essentially what you're seeing. You're also seeing people going long and people going short, getting wrecked here. This is why you shouldn't be a leverage trader in the crypto space unless you've got some kind of a clear direction. And also you've got the retail uncertainty. This video, like I say, is really here because people are flip-flopping. There's no clear direction, and the retail, and I'm part of retail with you guys, is getting blown around like a leaf. And if you understand, if you root yourselves in the belief that you have, and obviously if information comes up that significantly discredits the information that you already have, then you reassert your opinion. But right now, guys, in my opinion, this is all my opinion, you are still in a bull market, and I am expecting continuation, just like we've seen you know, after every sell-off, after we've had an impulsive move to the upside, ladies and gents. So this was caused by Essentially leverage, and really retail is driving this price kind of, up, down, shall I buy, shall I not buy? And it's caused by a lot of kind of commentators on the space. But ultimately, my belief is that Bitcoin is going to recover. Somebody had kind of drawn the analogies to the Wall Street cheat sheet, and how we're going through kind of like a mini version of that, if you will, where we've got these kind of, markets are driven by human beings, and of course there's emotion attached to it, and you've got this kind of disbelief phase that we're in before we see continuation. We've overlaid plenty of schematics to kind of show you that this is a common occurrence, and yet people, every single time, people have got so much PTSD from this kind of big sell-off here, that they're hesitant to stick to one belief because I don't want to disappoint anyone. And if you try and please everyone, guys, you're going to end up pleasing no one. So on to Cardano, and this is the second one. Very quickly, I'll just show you. This is Bitcoin held by public companies. Chart update with MicroStrategy, the latest. We know Michael Saylor literally yesterday bought an extra 5,050 Bitcoin. This is Bitcoin held by public companies. You can see the price sells off. Meanwhile, public companies have never held so much Bitcoin. They continue to buy, they continue to accumulate. Meanwhile, everybody else is calling for a bear market. It just doesn't make sense. And this is why, back to my point at the start of the video, doing TA is great, but if the fundamentals aren't there, it's somewhat useless. And that's really, I try and look at things from all different angles. Now, in regards to Cardano, it's much the same story. In fact, the network has actually grown by over 3.6%. So the net network growth has actually grown. No one really unstaked their Cardano to sell. We've still got 70% staked. The on-chain data looks great. You can see that the majority of holders for Cardano, 66% of people that hold Cardano have held it for 1 to 2 months. So it's the smaller amount, 25% have held it for less than a month, and about 9% have held it for a year. And the transaction in the last sort of 7 days has been nearly $100 billion, guys. So that's more than the overall market cap has been transacted through the Cardano network, according to these analytics, in the past sort of 7 days. So that's huge. It's showing real, and this is the kind of, very interesting. You always want to come and look at the majority of people that own Cardano are in money right now. It's about 28% concentrated by large holders, which is what you'd expect. I mean, it's very much the same with Bitcoin and Ethereum. The on-chain data, guys, has never really looked so good. Yes, there is a bit of a slowing down with sort of wallet addresses, etc., etc. But I'm kind of anticipating a pickup with this. We of course had the Alonzo hard fork take place on 2 days ago now. This is going to usher in an ecosystem of dApps. People are going to be able to build on the network. They're going to need Cardano to, in many cases, use their applications. It's going to become, if I want to use Uniswap, usually I'll trade with ETH, or I'll at least need ETH to facilitate the gas fees, moving Ethereum or an ERC20 back and forth. So a lot of Cardano is going to be getting locked up in this. You already have 70% staked. You're really coming to a pivotal moment in the ecosystem, and the price just doesn't reflect that. Now, price somewhat does look bearish. There's no getting around that. But the fundamentals to me are strong. And much the same as we've kind of come back and we've shown you every single time you have a kind of impulsive move. So we very much likened, and we're going to keep doing it for you until it really sinks in. We very much likened this, the end of your one wave into your two wave, and then your third wave to where you are today. Very, very similar, guys. And there's nothing out of the ordinary taking place here. There really isn't. In much the same way that, over here people would have said the same sort of thing, and then look what happened on the back end of that, guys. We keep bringing this up for a reason, because the main reason people are getting blown around like a leaf right now, and they're hesitant to jump in or hesitant to get out, they don't really know what they're doing, is because they don't have a longer term picture. You're investing in something that's going to change the world. Jeff Bezos, I believe, said that's the key to investing. If you want to look for a good investment, look for something that's going to change the world. You've got this with blockchain, guys. It's a technological revolution that's going to impact the world in a big way. People are too focused on the short-term price action, including myself. I'm with you guys 100% of the way here. This channel is for us, essentially. And I can understand why you've got these big swings, but this is part of being in an emerging market and a volatile asset class. I don't believe there's anything really to worry about. Lots of people calling for this maybe being a head and shoulders, That's yet to play out. Ultimately, Bitcoin, and we did draw this falling wedge. Those of you who watch my videos daily will remember. And it's adhered to it very, very nicely. And we said that there were similarities to this kind of sell-off and how you had this big wick that got bought up and how this sell-off took place. You had this big wick and then you kind of fail to kind of sell off below it and you make marginally higher highs before we see a continuation to the upside. And that could be on the cards today, ladies and gentlemen. But we will see. I mean, ultimately, you know, this market, as much as we can look at fundamentals, and they all look great, by the way, guys, not just for Bitcoin, but for Cardano and a number of other altcoins out there that we're going to start getting more into in our videos. We're going to start covering a wider variety of topics and coins within the crypto space. It's just really when I get time to do so. So I'm optimistic, guys, is the truth. I don't really think you have anything to worry about. When do we get worried? Well, for Cardano, a big one would be if you kind of fall below this fall wave, because then you would be completely invalidating your Elliott wave theory structure. That would be you likely entering your ABC correction and going down significantly from there. It doesn't have to happen, but right now we've got this structure in play and we believe it's going to continue. And until we get the signs that it's not going to, our bias is a bullish one. So that's really all I have for you guys. I just want to make this short and sweet, talk about some of the on-chain data. Into the block is a good one for Cardano. I don't really want to go into some of their paid stuff, some of their paid data. They've got a number of different kind of metrics that they weigh up and analytics that they go over. But this is very, very interesting and really, no one really unstaked their Cardano to sell it. It was just a lot of panic, a lot of leverage that causes, of course, the entire market to sell off. This is why the entire market sells off at once, by the way, guys, because you have, when somebody gets liquidated, their collateral gets sold instantly, and they'll often hold collateral in altcoins, and it kind of causes this big flush out in one. Now, you could just be seeing a bit of a relief rally here for Bitcoin before you do come to the downside slightly, but ultimately you are going to base out at some point and see continuation. It doesn't have to happen, guys. This is my big issue with commentators at the moment. They're literally doing this for Cardano. They're going, you could go up, you could go down, or you could go sideways. That doesn't help anybody. Ultimately, there are three things that could happen, but if you understand the fundamentals of everything, there's a kind of more broader, clear picture that's being painted. And that is that crypto is on an adoption curve that we looked at yesterday, and you're still early in that journey, and ultimately I believe there's more upside to come. Remember, your big companies out there, they're not selling, they're buying, and so are your whales. You just saw a bit of a slowing down, if you will, and you saw that on this kind of dip over here as well. But ultimately on the back end of that, you can see slow down, you get continuation to the upside. But that's really all I have for you in this video, guys. I'm going to love and leave you on that note. Remember, the Alonzo hard fork is now live. We are coming towards the end of this month. Into next month, going to actually start to see dApps running. We already have some very small simplistic dApps available, but we're going to see the more complex ones that are named here, and this is huge and is really going to have a big impact on the supply buy pressure for Cardano. That's all I have for you in this video, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to love and leave you on that note. Hopefully you've all had a fantastic Tuesday. If you've enjoyed the content, a like is always appreciated. So is a comment, and I look forward to seeing each and every one of you in the next YouTube video. Thanks a lot for watching, guys.